Well, let's continue with our reaction tonight. ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe joining us in studio for reaction to the resignation of Malusi Gigaba. How's the ANC taking this news?
Well, the ANC has noted Minister Malusi Gigaba's resignation from his position as Minister of Home Affairs. And I mean, we do note that decision because we believe that it was taken after thorough, deep thinking, consideration as well. And we are sure that he's doing this in the interest of the country and the organization. We'll also know that this is consistent with our own resolutions coming out of the 54th National Conference to make sure that we restore the values and integrity as well as good standing of the African National Congress.
Would you want him to resign as MP too?
Well, he remains a member of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, and he has already said in his statement that he thought that he must place the interest of the country first than his own personal interest, and I think that is quite commendable. So this now gives him sufficient time to be able to deal with the challenges that might have arisen.
Yes, but I'm asking, would you want him to resign as an MP too? Because currently he remains in his position as a member of parliament.
Yes, no, he will, like I'm saying, that the organization has got full confidence in Malusi Gigaba's ability to continue discharging the mandate that is bestowed upon him. He remains a member of parliament. There's not been any
But
talks.
Pule, you're not answering my question.
I'm going
Do you?
there.
Okay, please, let's get there so that...
I'm going there.
Okay.
That the fact that we still want him to play a greater role as a member of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, we also believe that in the positions that he still remains in, like being in Parliament, that would also be able to allow our own structures to tap into his own experience and wisdom. Stepping aside from the executive effectively allows him to deal with the challenges that have arisen.
Yes, but you have not answered my question. Do you, as the ANC, want him to remain in that position as an MP? You've spoken about how his resignation is in line with the values that the ANC wants to restore of integrity.
Yes.
So to the extent that it applies to him while he's a member of the executive, it still applies to him as a member of parliament.
Yes.
So would you want him then, in the same interest that you've spoken to me about, for him to resign as a member of parliament too?
Well, the ANC has not formulated an opinion on that. It's very important to note that. I mean, we do not have an opinion on him resigning as a member of parliament. What we did was to note the resignation, commend him for the role that he has played as a deployee of the African National Congress in the national executive of the country, having acted as a Minister of Home Affairs and having played a role in other ministries in the past, in public enterprise, in the Treasury. And we feel that he has taken a stand, having spoken to the President of the Republic, and felt that he should place the interest of the country first before his own.
What do you know about those meetings that took place between him and the president? Are you able to perhaps take us into your confidence and, at least from a party perspective, tell us how did those meetings go? What was the brief that you as the party were given? Well,
from the statement we have seen on his letter of resignation that he wrote to the president, one, he appreciated the wise counsel coming from the President of the Republic and indicated that they did have a fair engagement on the matter. And he decided that upon reflection on the issues at play, decided to step aside so that he does not detract us or detract the country from the immediate task that need to be fulfilled, sidetracked on issues of whether it's unity and renewal, whether it's on basic service delivery that our own government need to be discharging out there. But we must also appreciate that having engaged in the manner that he did and having taken his own party, the African National Congress, into his own confidence, I can assure you that even on our own statement, we shall have also spoken to Comrade Malusi to make sure that we are at least in sync in terms of the message that we are conveying out to the public. And we feel that he took it up upon himself to take his own organization into confidence on the major decision that he took.
You speak about the wise counsel he received from the president. Did the president advise him to resign?
Well, it doesn't necessarily come to that in the statement. What I'm saying about the Wise Council, the statement of the ANC does make mention that he decided to resign upon having a meeting with the President of the Republic. So I wouldn't want to get into the details of a meeting that I didn't attend. Safe to say that it has come to our attention that there could have been wise counsel coming out of those engagements. What we must appreciate is that here is a former member of the National Executive who took it up upon himself and say, let me step aside. Let me attend to all of these challenges that have arisen. This doesn't mean that I am admitting any guilt on my part, but this allows me to attend to all of these challenges.
You're oversimplifying it, Pule, because the reality was that by tomorrow, the president had a deadline to table exactly what his intentions were going to be following the recommendations of the public protector. So Malusi Gigaba has not gotten here out of the goodness of his heart, really.
Well, should I say Kathy?
No, you can call me Kathy, that's fine.
Well, Kathy, on this one, it would be a little bit of a dangerous space for you and I to now want to preempt what could have been the president's pronouncement. I think it is safe that Minister Malusi Gigaba, a deployee of the African National Congress in Parliament, who was later appointed to serve as Minister of Home Affairs, has taken it up upon himself to step aside so that he can deal with the challenges that have arisen. I think he deserves some bit of recognition from all of us because he took this decision himself and out of his own accord.
So, notwithstanding all the allegations that have been hovering around him, because after any of those incidents, surely if it was truly to handle those matters, even at the onset of the court finding against him that he lied under oath, even that would have been a good opportunity, at least by virtue of your argument, for him to take a step aside to deal with it till it subsides or till it's resolved.
Well, Kathy, this now allows that opportunity to an opportunity now exists for him through this resignation to be able to deal with all of those challenges. I'm sure that we must allow him and accord him the necessary space. Surely at the right time, when he has dealt with all of these issues, there would be a pronouncement on the sort of way forward that
all right. So let's move on from that issue. Just earlier we had Themba Godi, the Scopa chair, speaking to Annika Larson, and he said to us on record that in terms of the Fireblade saga, he believes that Malusi Gigaba, quote, directly is the fall guy, and that the ANC has some accountability to take for how the entire situation unfolded. What's your response to that? Because Themba Godi, having worked on this, believes that effectively Malusi Gigaba does have a leg to stand on when he says that he's being thrown under the bus, and Themba Godi saying that the ANC is throwing him under the bus here.
Well, I can assure Godi that the address of the ANC has not changed. We are still at Lituli House. If he feels that there are issues that he wants to bring forward to the ANC, he can come to Sawa Street and bring those issues forward. Because, you see, when people mention issues, whether in Parliament or outside Parliament, and bring in the name of the ANC without necessarily outlining what are the areas that the ANC...
Of course, he's speaking about the memo that has been before Parliament. He's speaking about the memo that has been before Parliament, which has also come into the public space about an instruction that the Fireblade terminal was given the green light. That's what he's talking about. I'm sure you've seen it.
Well, we have seen that. We are, of course, in the party doing our own investigation to establish the validity of such. What I can assure you is that the official communiques of the African National Congress would ordinarily come in the name of the Secretary General. At that time, the Secretary General was Comrade Gwede, and the memo that is being referred to is not signed by the Secretary General of the party. So I'm just saying, I mean, there is a constitution of the ANC which provide a fair framework on how the ANC conduct its own activities, including indicating what are the powers that are associated with every position in the African National Congress.
Pule, before I let you go, just before you came on, Samkelo Masek was taking us through some of what Malusi Gigaba had to say when he spoke to him in the last 2 weeks. And he made a point around the fact that he feels there were more sinister reasons for why he needed to be taken out of his position now. And among them being that there seems to be a purge of the younger generation in the ANC by the old guard. As somebody who's part of that younger generation and has served with the likes of Malusi Gigaba, do you think that's what's happening here?
Well, maybe one of the things to put to context is that in the ANC, I'm part of the National Executive Committee, not part of a generation. So we lead the African National Congress at the behest of the membership of the organization who shall have elected us into this position. I can tell you now that what the organization is seized with is the unity and renewal of the organization, the restoration of the values of the movement, making sure that we assert ethical leadership, we project one singular message of unity which will allow us to facilitate the delivery of basic services to our people without any hindrance. That is the obsession of the African National Congress at the moment.
All right, we've run out of time. Pule Mabe, thank you so much for coming on to Newsnight.